Greetings from beautiful Cape Town, South Africa.
I am Suné Stassen, a designer, educator, impact entrepreneur, and the founder and CEO of Open Design Africa.
I always look at our man-made world through a design lens, with the human race at the helm as the chief designer. For generations, we have successfully engineered a destructive and unjust world for living in.
At Open Design Africa, we believe that collaborative, creative intelligence is a superpower. We also believe that every child and citizen should have the right to develop it.
This will enable and empower everyone to confidently contribute to the future making of a world we can all feel proud to live, work, and play in.
Open Design Africa calls on
all Africans
and people from around the world
to action small seeds of change.
everywhere.
Because collectively, the impact will be massive.
Today, we have the most important design brief to write in the history of mankind to secure a thriving future for humanity and the planet. Our African humanist philosophy of Ubuntu beautifully defines that I am, you are, because of who we all are. Let's design our futures together. Welcome. It's a beautiful day in Cape Town, and I feel so fortunate to be hugged by these magical surroundings. The top tourist destination in Africa, the V&A waterfront, with the city of Cape Town in the distance, and of course, Table Mountain in all its glory. Thank you for joining me, and thank you to IxDA for this amazing invitation and opportunity to share some of my thoughts. Many years ago, when I started out as a design educator, I was aggressively reprimanded by a businessman, and I quote, "Creativity is frivolous, suitable for the non-academics and hobbyists. Design has no value in society." I can honestly say this was the most significant moment of my career. It reinforced my perspective of our world through a design lens. It fuels my purpose, my passion, my career. The current global pandemic sharply heightened our awareness of thriving inequalities, and that our environments, economy, and each individual are an integral part of a much greater ecosystem. It's all connected, and it has become vital to think systemically and act collectively as a global community, if we are truly serious about igniting real change on a momentous scale. This realization is putting a crucial spotlight on every citizen of this world, no matter your age, occupation, culture and heritage, or religion. We all should be acknowledged as assets and vital contributors to our global design team called the human race. As a collective, we are responsible for designing the state of our man-made world. My aim of this talk is to spark a different perspective and provide you with enough insight to understand why the development of creative intelligence in all children has become a matter of urgency. If we want to enable them with suitable future-making life skills to confidently and collectively design a future world we can all feel proud to live, work, and play in. I would like to challenge current mindsets, misconceptions, perspectives, and irresponsible and unresponsive behavior, inspire new and regenerative solutions, and ignite hope and new aspirations for a different, just, and prosperous future world. Today, we have the most important design brief to develop and execute in the history of mankind, to design a future world that's conducive to life and well-being. And that will allow people and planet not only to survive, but also to thrive for 10,000 generations and more, the same way nature designs. I believe this is the most powerful and impactful legacy worth aspiring to. But first, like with any design brief, we need to understand and investigate the current status quo before we can realize our intent and identify vital components that will underpin and drive a design process of this magnitude. This will deliver the transformative outcomes most of us desire. To empathize is the first step of this design process, and who better than Richard Williams, also publicly known as Prince EA, a spoken word artist and civil rights activist, to shake us straight to our core with his epic video titled Man vs. Earth. Get ready to hold onto your seat, experience your heart skipping a few beats and many goosebump moments. He boldly cut through the noise and put things into perspective and break down complex ideas into simple core building blocks, which are vital to ignite, escalate, and effect real systemic change. This is the status quo.
Fun fact, planet Earth is 4.5 billion years old. Mankind, about 140,000 years old. Let me put that in perspective. If you condense the Earth's lifespan into 24 hours, that's one full day, then we have been here on this planet for, drum roll please, 3 seconds. 3 seconds. And look what we've done. We have modestly named ourselves Homo sapiens, meaning wise man. But is man really so wise? Smart, yes, and it's good to be smart, but not too smart for your own good. Yes, we have split the atom. Yes, we build clever machines that navigate the universe in search of new homes, but at the same time, those atoms we split created nuclear warfare. In our quest to explore the galaxy, rejects and neglects the home that we have here now, so no, that cannot be wisdom. Wisdom is different. While intelligence speaks, wisdom listens, and we willingly covered our ears to Mother Nature's screams and closed our eyes to all of her help-wanted signs. Wisdom knows that every action has an equal and opposite reaction, so if we were wise, we would not be shocked when we see storms that are stronger than ever before, or more drought, hurricanes, and wildfire than ever before, because there's more pollution than ever before, more carbon, more trees cut down than ever before. At a record pace, we have increased the extinction of animals by 1,000 times the normal rate. What a feat. In the next 10 to 100 years, every beloved animal character in every children's book is predicted to go extinct. Lions gone, rhinos gone, tiger, gorilla, elephant, polar bear gone in 3 seconds. Species that have been here longer than us will be gone because of us in this 3 seconds. In an existence shorter than a Vine video, we turn the circle of life into our own personal conveyor belt. Somebody, anybody help. We were given so much, the only planet in this solar system with life. I mean, we are 1 in a million. No, actually, scientifically, we are 1 in a billion, trillion. That's a 1 followed by 33 zeros. And I don't want to get too spiritual, but how are we not a miracle? We are perfectly positioned to the sun so we don't burn, but not too distant so we don't turn to ice. Goldilocks said it best, we are just right. This paradise where we are given medicine from trees, not coincidentally, but because like the song says, we are family. Literally, everything, every species is connected genetically, from the sunflower to the sunfish. And this is what we must recognize before it's too late, because the real crisis is not global warming, environmental destruction, or animal agriculture. It is us. These problems are symptoms of us, byproducts of us. Our inner reflection, loss of connection has created this misdirection. We have forgotten that everything contributes to the perfection of Mother Nature. Corporations keep us unaware and disconnected, but they have underestimated our strength. Contrary to popular belief, millions are waking up out of their sleep, seeing our home being taken right up under our feet. We cannot allow our history to be written by the wicked, greedy, and loony. It is our duty to protect Mother Nature from those who refuse to see her beauty. Call me crazy, but I believe we should have the right to eat food that's safe, with ingredients we can pronounce, drink water that is clean, marvel at trees, breathe air free of toxins. These are natural rights, not things that can be bargained for in Congress. See, they want you to feel powerless, but it has been said that something as small as the flutter of a butterfly's wing can cause a typhoon halfway around the world. But when enough people come together, we too will make waves and wash the world into a new era filled with love and connection, freedom for all without oppression. But it is up to you, yes, you watching this behind this screen, to make the effort, because time is of the essence, and only together can we make it to the 4th second.
Prince EA set the scene for us to understand and empathize the extent of our destruction we have engineered to date. Engineered, yes, because this world was never designed by people with creative intelligence. Albert Einstein once said, "We cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them." As an intelligent species that has an inherent ability to also do good, I strongly believe that we are equally capable of designing the exact opposite, but only if change is driven through wisdom instead. To make further sense of our design brief and to secure the delivery of desired outcomes, our next step is to define high-level problems and challenges that hinder systemic change. This will identify core components that need to be tackled before we plot our final building blocks of this crucial design process. I have always been curious to understand the reasons we continue to reinvent the wheel with less impactful and durable solutions when nature already boasts with the most impressive and sustainable design solutions. Nature has successful models, processes, and systems tested and proven across 3.8 billion years, inclusive of all living organisms, no matter their size or origin. Who can compete with that? As nature is the master designer of all living ecologies, designed to be conducive to life for 10,000 generations and more, it will be very wise to take our lead from Mother Nature, study her wisdom that surrounds us, and implement these learnings across all sectors of our man-made world. My friend at Learn by Mimicry in South Africa, Jess Berliner, agrees, and I quote, "Nature is an exquisite example of diversity, working in highly effective, collaborative, and cooperative relationships. Everything from the largest tree to a singular human relies on the success of diversity and meaningful connections where information, energy, and resources flow freely between all its parts so that this diverse system can be aware, reactive, and resilient." The second problem I identify is the man-made world that historically reflects fragile ecologies and broken, ineffective value chains. From a high-level perspective, the triple bottom line, people, planet, and the economy, has always been the foundation of this crucial design process. But instead, we have disregarded two of the three core pillars, people and planet, for generations. History continues to prove that without a collective, holistic, and systemic approach, it is not possible to create a world that is conducive to life, where ecologies can flourish and a regenerative, prosperous value chain can be developed that's beneficial for all. The pandemic heightened our awareness of a world signified by an overwhelming number of broken chains, a daily occurrence that's been evident for centuries on all levels of civilization, including family structures, business, governments, our immediate environments, and between people and nature. We must understand these reasons that continue to create a devastating ripple effect felt by generations, and why the legacy of the human race has mostly been one of destruction and a world that is in constant survival mode. Our inability to approach the design of our diversified world has physically and mentally disempowered global populations from prospering and from confidently contributing as rightful fellow future makers and designers of our world. Which brings me straight to defining problem number 3, education. The first foundational building block of this crucial design process. Education always had the power to single-handedly shape the fabric of society and determines the destiny of humanity and the planet. Education shapes and defines mindsets, responsive behavior, and aspirations. But has it? We all learn in different ways. However, the education most of us experience, which continues to reinforce a priority focus on STEM subjects like science, technology, engineering, and math, has always failed to develop the whole child and to optimize the participation and opportunities to develop the full potential of all children, regardless of their cognitive abilities. Leaving the majority behind, STEM education has always been exclusive and accessible to only a few. And today, most of the skills that were earmarked to set you and me up for success have already been automized by machines. Albert Einstein rightfully explained, everybody is a genius, but if we continue to judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life thinking that it is stupid. He was also the one that referenced the fact that developing imagination is far more important than knowledge because knowledge is limited, while imagination will enable us to encircle the world. The late Sir Ken Robinson reminded us that imagination is the source of every form of human achievement, and I could not agree more. Let's face it, education has never been designed to drive equality and enable and empower the global masses with future-making life skills. This has always been the privilege of an exclusive few. As an educator for more than 30 years, I was saddened once I understood that education has been the biggest culprit that continues till this day to increase inequalities across the globe. And don't get me wrong, this statement is not contextualizing under-resourced and impoverished communities and their challenges to deliver quality education. In fact, many of them are way better equipped to deliver the type of education we need to see in this world, because these educators and learners are forced to be resourceful, and that optimizes the development of imagination, empathy, problem solving, and big picture thinking. Instead, we should globally challenge the essence of quality education as we know it, because the system has never been designed to develop the whole child and effect positive change across civilization. Instead, it continues to disempower most children with different cognitive abilities to transform into agile and responsive global citizens, fit to tackle the demands of the future in a fast-changing world. Although it is hard to predict exactly what the future of work holds 1, 2, or even 10 generations from now, we are capable to predict with certainty what human qualities will continue to be relevant for future success, that will develop confident participants and active, responsive global citizens who are able to drive value, meaning, and significant impact across the triple bottom line far into the future. A priority investment in STEAM education, not STEM, to develop creative intelligence will be crucial to determine the future of humanity and the planet. STEAM, by the way, is when creative experiences like art, dance, music, play, and phenomenon-based learning, which engage the learners with real-life problem solving, are fully integrated across all subjects. STEAM education is the soundest way to create thriving conditions conducive to fully engaged learning experiences, leaving no one behind, regardless of their cognitive abilities. When creative play has an equal platform with subject content, it is successfully used as a valuable tool that helps to excel exploration and experimentation. Adding creativity into the mix develops a higher order of thinking, develops their curiosity and innovative skills, democratizes participation, optimizes the learning experience, and the development of crucial future-making life skills in all children. The same is true for the development of people across all levels of society. There is no more time to waste. We are concerned about the future of humanity and the planet, and therefore, we must demand the transformation of education now if we want to address the skill shortage of the past and present and start to transform society. This responsibility falls on the shoulders of each one of us. Parent, educator, youth, employer, investor, government, policymakers, futurists, and every member of our global community so that we can start developing human and social capital that's fit to drive a thriving future for people and planet. The late Nelson Mandela said, "Education is the most powerful weapon which we can use to change the world."
The most surprising thing in education since I started, which is probably 3 and a bit decades ago, is that so little of it has changed. Because if you ask the same question, what's changed in the world since then, you'd have a torrent of really exciting breakthrough moments.
I'm not really sure that as an education sector in this country we are really doing what we need to do to prepare children for the future.
The older version of education, I don't think really ever served the purpose it was meant to serve.
Instead, we need a schooling system that engages the heart as well as the head.
So we need to get kids who can think critically, who can collaborate.
They need to be able to thrive economically in completely transformed circumstances.
We need to give teachers freedom and trust them and allow them to innovate.
The world needs courage from educators.
Our world is evolving all the time. Unexpected events on a local or global scale disrupt our lives. The fourth industrial revolution is giving us opportunities, yet is also attacking jobs. And an even much bigger wave is hitting our shores: climate change. Navigating through this ever-changing environment is challenging. More than ever before, we will have to rely on new ideas, new concepts, new answers. And these come from people who are confident to use their imagination, to think outside of silos, and to be inspired by the possibility to improve our society. This is not the privilege of a handful of intelligent, brave, and lucky women or men. All of us can do this, as long as we have had the possibility to learn this in a supporting ecosystem. This is where my machine brings an impactful solution. Our unique and multi-award-winning methodology unites all educational levels in 3 steps. Step 1. Children in primary schools invent their dream machine. Anything goes, as long as they really want it. Then, university students help them design a concept. And in step 3, technical or vocational secondary school students help build an actual working prototype. Primary school children inspire the older students with their creative powers and creative confidence that they still have within them. University students show that solutions come from looking for the right angle to a challenge. And the technical secondary students display their skills by improving the technical side of the design, ensuring the production of the working prototype is safe, smooth, effective, and within budget. While they work for months on bringing ideas to life, like the clean up my room machine or the homework making machine, they use mathematics and physics and all the other knowledge they need for this inspiring endeavor. And all students learn along the way that nothing comes easy, that bringing an idea to life means you will need to rely on teamwork, empathy, respect for each other's talents, and being persistent and resilient. While co-creating these dream machines is so much hard work, it is also so much fun. Can you imagine how much joy they find in creating a party dance machine, a massage machine, a chase away the bad ghost from under my bed machine, or a turning bunk bed, better known as the never have to discuss anymore who gets to sleep on top machine? We know that taking those dream machine ideas seriously means the world to all participating children. Wherever life takes them, dance, engineering, plumbing, IT, fashion, law, filmmaking, management, community building or space technology, one of the most instrumental skills to bring you happiness and to make you thrive is learning that you can bring any idea to life. No matter the scope of your vision, whether it's something personal, local or global, making it happen starts with the creative confidence that your ideas matter, that your ideas can make a difference. That is how we will see a lot more of us doing a lot more to shape this better future we all need to design together.
The fourth challenge is related to our urgent drive and commitment to achieve the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. The UN SDGs have fast become the global compass to help us focus on driving systemic and large-scale change across the triple bottom line and to start building a future world we all desire. However, if we continue to ignore the skill shortage of the past and present, and continue to ignore the proposed transformation in education, we will set our children and our future generations up for failure. All investment made across sectors to drive and achieve the UN SDGs will be short-lived if a future workforce is inadequately equipped to confidently take the reins and uphold these goals into the future. In 2019, the UN declared that 2021 will be celebrated as the International Year of the Creative Economy for Sustainable Development, which really amplifies the valuable contribution of the creative industries to our economies, society, and in our environments. Global investment in creativity as a core building block to develop future-making global citizens will ignite an unprecedented powerful wave of systemic change sweeping across the triple bottom line, felt by future generations way beyond the circles of the creative economy. Challenge number 5, the gross misinterpretation across the globe of the fourth industrial revolution's aspirational and very commendable vision to build a thriving future for all. Although the fourth industrial revolution creates a lot of anxiety for many, and understandably so, it also suggests unique and exciting opportunities to effect large-scale transformation that's imperative to drive, achieve, and uphold the UN SDGs way into the future. The magnitude of change needed is overwhelming, and this is not achievable by man alone. A symbiotic relationship between man and machine will be essential to succeed in the future. Unfortunately, I have experienced many decision makers, investors, and institutions globally that interpret the essence of the fourth industrial revolution as a priority focus on technology and tech skills. Have we not learned enough from the past to know that no one pillar can deliver sustained success in isolation if we want to design thriving ecologies? After all, it is creativity that develops creative intelligence, which include human qualities like empathy, emotional intelligence, the ability to negotiate and collaborate, to be independent and critical thinkers, and to develop our imagination that enable us to innovate. These are qualities and skills that defines and differentiate us from the machine. This is our only competitive advantage worthy of investment that will propel the crucial symbiotic agenda. It will determine the future of humanity and our planet. No matter if we design a product or future cities, educate, use artificial intelligence, apply data or create a community experience, innovation and decision-making should always be guided with empathy and creative and emotional intelligence. This will ensure that every step of development and implementation results in suitable and desired strategies, products, environments, systems, and services that are place-based and sustainable. Without this personal transformation, our efforts will be less purpose-driven, significant, impactful, sustainable, and desirable. History will simply repeat itself, and humanity and the planet will continue to fight for survival.
Very much focused, though, on the design process. So I think that's what really interested me and got me to where we are now with Cartido, is actually how do we design processes, on one hand to bring about better solutions, but also to bring people together around coming up with those solutions. And so I partnered with my co-founder Shweta Homji, who's a data scientist, data analyst, and we brought together the fields of design thinking, data science, and then learning design together to create Cartido, where we really focus on solving the problem around soft skills, measurement and development. So for me, I think a learning experience platform is exactly that. It adopts the platform business model where you've got multiple sides, each feeding off the other or feeding into the other. And I think a traditional management system, again, it's in its name, it just manages existing content. Whereas as soon as you move to the experience component of it, we're looking at the experience not just of the end user, but also of those who are managing the management system. So how do we provide, for example, L&D specialists with a better experience as well? And I think where learning experience platform comes in hand is through, for example, sharing data live and rich data as well. So we're not just looking at what people have done, have they watched this video, have they completed this form, have they submitted this in time, but there's that sort of more human layer where we're actually measuring experience. So not just did people do it, but did they enjoy doing it? Where were they finding their struggles? Where were the bottlenecks and why? And I think that's really where the experience platform comes in, is it's a much richer data that's being uncovered through the process. And as an example, on Cartido, as people are moving through a learning program, it's not just how many people are at each stage, it's also sort of what skills are they learning at this stage? How do we, for example, give the right sort of prompts to get people through the process at different stages based on their personality, not just on what they've done. So I think the key there is, again, is sort of the humanization of LMSs would taking it through to what an LXP would be.
Let's quickly explore what other credible sources add to the skill set discussion and the role of creativity. Jack Ma, who is a Chinese business magnate, investor, philanthropist, and the co-founder and former CEO of the technology conglomerate Alibaba Group, had the following to say.
Among all the challenges, I think the most challenging thing is about education. Even if today the best university of the world will face the same challenges, because everything we teach our kids are the things that in the past 200 years, the things we taught them, the machine will do better. So we have to think about what is the best way, what are the contents to teach our kids in the future. We have to teach the kids that win the machines, and machine will never be able to win the man. This is my belief, because machine only have the chips, human have the heart. So I think we have to change from now on the education system. In the future, it's not about the competition of knowledge, it's a competition of creativity, it's a competition of imagination, it's a competition of learning, it's a competition of independent thinking. If you think like a machine, the problem will come. In the past 20 years, we make people like a machine. In the next 20 years, machine will look like a people. So in the future, it's not knowledge-driven, it's the wisdom-driven. It's the experience-driven. So in the past, it's the knowledge-driven, and it's the manufacturing-driven, and in the future, it's the creativity-driven. So this is what we think the world should be focusing on.
Not too long ago, Forbes made a profound statement that creativity is the top leadership skill of the future. And I'm sure this seems far-fetched to many who don't understand the role and impact of creativity beyond the creative economy. This profound statement acknowledges the significant impact of creativity beyond the creative economy. You see, leaders with creative intelligence are thought leaders of the future. They are future makers who know, for example, how to apply their knowledge, emotional intelligence, and empathy to drive productivity of innovations that can deliver desirable and meaningful impact. They will make a crucial contribution to help achieve future urban ecologies that will reflect regenerative economies, flourishing environments, and thriving communities. Sir Ken Robinson once said, "The role of a creative leader is not to have all the ideas. It's to create a culture where everyone have ideas and feel they are valued." Data that were collected by LinkedIn from more than 600 million professionals and employers, a significant number of people to simply ignore. They all agree that the following skills in the workplace are already in high demand. Important to also note that creative and playful experiences will optimize the development of all these skills. In 2018, the World Economic Forum's Future of Jobs report predicted that there will be an increasing demand in 2022 for people with the following skills. Compared to their top 10 list in 2018 that included attention to detail and trustworthiness, I trust both are still key competencies worth a mention. The unprecedented global lockdown disrupted and turned our entire world upside down. It forced a fast-paced world to come to a complete standstill. We questioned our purpose and re-evaluated relationships, our aspirations, our needs, and the needs of others. Short and long-term goals, predictions, and strategies forced many to become agile solution seekers and greater leaders. Parents globally gained first-hand experience with the education of their children. And in only a short few months, we witnessed how nature, in the absence of man, started to thrive again. In the light of the before-mentioned future skills, did the global pandemic also strong-armed you to start looking at the world through a different lens with more wisdom? Parents, which people skills, human qualities, and characteristics do you believe your children need to develop that will enable them to thrive in the future? And how will you navigate this quest to make sure it will happen? Employers and entrepreneurs, what human qualities or characteristics are you looking for in people to employ or collaborate with that will add real value, significance, and meaning to your business or project? Fellow humans, which human qualities define your ideal future-making leader? Can you imagine the immense added value and ripple effect on our future economies, environments, and communities if empathy and emotional intelligence, for instance, guided every decision we make today as leaders in every sector, in government and in policy making, in our place of work, and even in our personal lives? The following visual story underpins the essence and philosophy behind an essential part of the creative process of everything we create in our man-made world. Before we can start crafting our intent during the ideation phase, we first need to have a very clear and authentic understanding of the emotions we want to ignite in our users and fellow human beings, because this will direct and guide every question and decision we make along the design process, so that the outcome and final product affects conditions that's conducive to life and well-being for all who engage and experience it. Robert Sternberg's theory of intelligence very clearly expresses the value of creative intelligence as our ability to use existing knowledge and skills to effectively deal with new and unusual situations. So no, I and so many others are not delusional when we say that creative intelligence is a superpower. We listen, we observe, and we investigate historical evidence, ignorantly ignored by too many for far too long. Then, we use all these building blocks to make sense of the present and start to imagine and aspire to a very achievable future that is just and prosperous for all. The future of humanity and the planet depend on it. What role are you going to play to educate, fight for, or demonstrate the power and impact of creativity? The following individuals and organizations think systemically about workable solutions and apply their creative intelligence. They are already contributing to help humanity achieve this crucial design brief. Through these projects and innovative models, they will continue to add significance and meaning to many lives and many communities. Today, I'm asking you to show up for humanity and the planet. Be a change maker. If we all plant small seeds of change everywhere, our collective impact will be massive.
So what made you decide to get a tattoo?
My inspiration was 2 weeks ago, 3 of my friends were shot innocently.
My human rights, as opposed to his, I deal with having to worry about what my sexuality means in terms of human rights.
This is Jenny Mugai, and we tattooed the letter N on Jenny in Kenya. And she has one of the 6,773 letters of the Declaration of Human Rights. And this entire declaration is being tattooed on people across the globe. I'm Sander van Bussel. I started this living work of art, tattooing the human rights on people, letter by letter. And behind every letter, there's a personal story, like Jenny's, or like Ndume, who spent 28 years in an American prison, innocently. Or David Ndungu, and he was arrested for insulting a politician on Facebook. Ibiyemis Familoni from the United States. Flavio Santos from Brazil. Christopher Opoka, a journalist from South Sudan, and In Pugh from Myanmar, or Sasha Adler from the Russian punk band Pussy Riot. Can these tattoos make a change? It doesn't prevent you from being arrested. I'm not sure, but I do know that this tattoo empowers this community. It gives them new hope. This tattoo is your moral compass. And talking about your tattoo is a way to raise awareness, to spread this message, to make it universal. Because what better way to connect yourself to human rights than with a small piece of your skin?
Coca-Cola is one of the world's most loved brands, but in the UAE, they're not the market leader. In 2014, we set out to increase brand love for Coca-Cola by targeting the country's large Asian population. More specifically, the blue-collar workers who leave their families behind and come to the UAE in search of a better future. In a segment usually only targeted with basic freebies and generic prizes, we had to tap into an insight that the workers could truly relate to. So Coca-Cola decided to spread a little happiness by helping them connect with their families back home more often. We created the Hello Happiness phone booth, a phone booth that was powered by Coca-Cola bottle caps, extending the value of our product to currency.
Hello? Yeah,
In the span of just 1 month, we logged over 140,000 minutes, and following the on-ground activation, the online video quickly made Hello Happiness the topic of conversation around the country.
Dubai Eye 103.8. Let's start with Hello Happiness. Hello Happiness is the tagline of Coca-Cola's new campaign, which they launched to help labourers here find a little bit of happiness in their long, hard days.
The response was overwhelming. Everyone from talk radio stations, newspapers, bloggers, schools and housewives in the local community got behind the campaign. The video was shared, liked, tweeted and debated in the weeks that followed, with over 820 million media impressions, an estimated PR value of more than $1.5 million and a 13.55% increase in brand love. A country that rarely ever talks about advertising was talking about Coca-Cola's Hello Happiness and how they could get involved. And while Hello Happiness set out to increase brand love amongst the Asian population, it ended up spreading happiness to every demographic in the UAE and beyond.
This is the donut. The goal of the donut is to meet the needs of all people within the means of the planet. Sometimes when I present the ideas of donut economics, people say, is this capitalism or is this communism or is it socialism? And you think, really? Are these the only choices we have? The isms of the last century? Can we not come up with some ideas of our own and create new names for them and see new patterns? Governments in every country are almost addicted to citing GDP figures as if this was proof of success, and yet it's so clearly not. Because we have climate breakdown and COVID lockdown and financial meltdown, we have to pursue something far richer to move from this pursuit of endless growth, which we can now see is hitting us with crisis after crisis, moving to a goal of thriving. And the donut is absolutely possible to turn not into a single number, but into a dashboard. We could hold policymakers to account and say every year, you need to talk about how you are making progress on these different dimensions of the donut. Outside the donut is created by leading Earth system scientists just a decade ago. These are the 9 life-supporting systems of planet Earth. To have a stable climate, to have healthy oceans, to have recharging fresh water. And they drew these and called them the planetary boundaries. And they said we must stay in the circle in the middle. I thought, but if we go to the center of the circle, where we use hardly any of Earth's resources, that's not thriving. That is actually death and destitution for billions of people. We need to convert Earth's lands for food, for water, for housing, for energy. So I drew this inner circle and said, just as there is an outer limit of humanity's pressure on the planet, so too there must be an inner limit. So the hole in the middle is a place where people are left falling short on the essentials of life. It's where people don't have the food, water, energy, healthcare, housing, education, political voice that every person has a claim to meeting. We want to leave nobody in this hole, get everybody into the green ring of the donut itself. Ever since the donut was first published in 2012, people have been wanting to downscale it to the scale of a city or a neighborhood or a nation. And Amsterdam is the first place where we've actually downscaled it. And I've worked together with an organization called Circle Economy, who have been helping the city devise their strategy.
Amsterdam having a very ambitious vision of becoming a fully circular city by 2050. What happens with the donut is that because it brings all these themes together of the social aspects and the environmental, you need to start a conversation with everybody in the room. We invited all different departments that they were not used to be part of this conversation. How can we create housing in Amsterdam that is available for all different incomes, at the same time is supporting the well-being of people who live in the house, and how does this construction is made with materials that reducing the global emissions and the climate. With the city donut, we suddenly see in the portrait of the city the impact that Amsterdam has in, let's say, Bangladesh, and people's life there that work in producing the clothes that we wear in Amsterdam, and how a city can start thinking about all this and creating strategies that are taking this into account.
The donut does not give us answers. You don't plug in a calculation and it tells you how to do it. What it does is provide a space for people to come together. In fact, in Amsterdam, the policymakers said, we now realize that if we're aiming to get into the donut, we need to change our own internal organization so that we're more holistic and connected in our planning and policy. And I think smart policymakers realize that they don't need a solution to financial crisis and a different one to climate crisis and a different one to health emergencies. They need a paradigm that no longer pushes for endless growth, but instead focuses on thriving, on resilience, and on well-being within communities. We began with this downscaling in rich cities, in high-income nations, because they are the ones that have the greatest obligation to transform, to come back within planetary boundaries. But I believe the framework that we've created can absolutely be adapted and used in low-income countries and cities. In fact, in Costa Rica, they've just launched an initiative called Regenerate Costa Rica. They have an ambition to become one of the world's first regenerative nations, and they're using the donut as a framework for guiding them to that goal. It always looks like transformation is going to take many, many decades. And one thing I think we've seen in many countries from this COVID pandemic is that actually policies can happen almost overnight when governments decide to make them happen. Change is absolutely possible if we transform the political values and interests and the mindset.
You know, the answers we seek, the secrets to a sustainable world, are literally all around us. And if we choose to truly mimic life's genius, the future I see would be beauty and abundance, and certainly fewer regrets. You know, in the natural world, the definition of success is the continuity of life. You keep yourself alive and you keep your offspring alive. That's success. But it's not the offspring in this generation. Success is keeping your offspring alive 10,000 generations and more. And that presents a conundrum because you're not gonna be there to take care of your offspring 10,000 generations from now. So what organisms have learned to do is to take care of the place that's gonna take care of their offspring. Life has learned to create conditions conducive to life. And that's really the magic heart of it. Life creates conditions conducive to life. And that's also the design brief for us right now. We have to learn how to do that. And luckily, we're surrounded by the answers and, you know, millions of species willing to gift us with their best ideas.
The time is now to join in solidarity and execute a new design brief that will result in a thriving future for our planet, our children, and their offspring. Let's drive this global revolution together. Demand the transformation of education, and collectively, we can build a sound foundation that will kickstart a design process that's driven through wisdom instead. Because only together can we make it to the 4th second.